everyone. Welcome back to the Blue and Beyonds. We got a very excited episode planned to have for you guys with different segments. My name's Justin.
And I'm Sophia.
And today we're going to be talking about some sensitive topics. So just before, we get into our segments, I just want to give a little disclaimer about that. We're going to get into detail about some students' experience transitioning to college and, some sensitive things that could upset people. And we just want to give that disclaimer before we get into it. So today we're really going to talk about, change and loss and how to navigate that coming to college. College and university is a great thing. But with that, right, there's a big transition, a lot of changes, and a lot of hardships come with that as well, right? So like with this podcast, we want to highlight different students' experience and really relate and connect to students the best that we can. So we thought, this is a sensitive topic, but I think it's important one to have, and I think it's going to be a really good episode.
Yeah, and to highlight what Justin said about having that student experience, we have Emerald here with us, and she is the perfect person to talk about this with, being an out-of-state student at a smaller to medium school. So I'm going to let Emerald introduce herself. Just tell us as much or as little as you want about yourself, and yeah, perfect.
Hi, I'm Emerald Ortiz. I'm a current senior, so I'll be graduating in the spring semester. Yay. I'm a bio major, hoping to go pre-med. I'm from Arizona, if no one knows that already. And I'm also the social media coordinator for the CAS peer advisors, as well as being a peer advisor too.
Yeah, so we get to hang out a lot, which is
Yes.
really cool. So Emerald, being from out of state, like you said, being from Arizona, I feel like the biggest question or the most important one that I have for you is why? So why did you choose Seton Hall? Like, what drew you to a smaller school coming from Arizona, coming from a place with a lot of bigger schools, a lot of more popular schools, I would say, at least for like kids our age. So I just want to know like the why. Why did you choose Seton Hall? What drew you to it, and what made you stay?
Honestly, when I originally applied to Seton Hall, I did not even know what Seton Hall was. I didn't even know it was a school. My mom actually made me apply.
Same, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm like, it came as like a brochure and like the mail, and she's like, Emerald, like this is a really good school. Like you should apply. Like this would be amazing for you. What did not originally sell me on it, I was born and raised Catholic. I've gone to Catholic school before. So knowing that it was a Catholic university, I was like, Mom, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad she made me apply. And definitely like when it came down to like making a decision for what schools I wanted to go to, I just knew like I did want to go away from home, even though originally I probably never would have done it, but I needed to like push myself outside that boundary.
Yeah.
Like me and my family were just really big on like family in general, so it's just more like centered and like the root of myself. So it's like it just felt like I needed to kind of find myself outside of that. And yeah, so when I decided to choose Seton Hall, it like came down one of our final options. So me and my mom actually came to like Pirate Preview, I think.
Yeah,
is what it was.
It's one of the events.
And so we toured it. Mind you, Seton Hall's the only university I toured. Like,
Wow.
Like actually like went on a genuine tour for. And yeah, I fell in love with the campus. I liked that it was smaller. I'm more of a like personal like shy person, so I'm like, yeah, no, I need something a little bit like more me.
Yeah.
And it definitely brings that sense of that, while also like allowing me to be able to like step outside my boundaries a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah. And you mentioned like you're very family oriented, which I think is really important. It sounds like your family was really supportive during the whole thing, which is huge, especially coming like out of state. So as far as being away from your family, and I know you mentioned how Seton Hall is a very close-knit community, which I agree with. I know Justin can agree with too. When it actually came down to being here and starting to make your own community and meeting new people here, what would you say was the hardest part, if you had one, about transitioning from being out of state to here? So like once you got here, what was the hardest part about being out of state?
Definitely coming into a state where I don't know anybody. Like, I don't have family here in New Jersey. I didn't have any friends. I really, truly didn't know anyone. And making friends for me is a little bit harder just because I'm so, like, reserved. And I don't know, it takes a while for me to, like, truly open up to people. So that was like the big thing. So I know it like definitely played a role in like me beginning to feel like homesick and just like kind of spiral mentally in that sense. And then just it was not good. Definitely freshman year was a little bit more brutal to me than my following 3 years. And now I'm a senior here. And like I remember freshman year I was kept like calling home and contemplating, I'm like, maybe I should just go back home, like I can't do this, like maybe college is not for me. And it was just like a rough point in my life.
Yeah. No, thank you for, speaking on that. I think Seton Hall does a really great job at bringing students in from other different states. I know I've met a lot of students that are from all over the country, so it's like great, you're representative of Arizona. How long would you say that, period took, right? That's natural, being homesick from so far away. How long did it take to really adjust? And what was the biggest factor for you that really helped you make that adjustment? Was it, making friends? Was it a certain professor? Was it your peer advisor? What was it that really helped you transition, and how long did it take?
Definitely, I would say it's not easy at first. It definitely took quite a while for me, at least, just with my personality and everything that I was going through at that point. It was like, it just kind of like felt like I was unable to truly like connect with my family because I wasn't there. So like I felt as like I wasn't as involved as I should have been, like as a sister to my siblings or as a daughter to my mom and my dad. And then like I just felt like I was like the root cause of a lot of issues that were happening with my family. And so it just like it began to like manifest more rapidly, and like it was just like a lot of like mental pain and strain, and it really took an effect on my grades. And like I'm not proud of my freshman year, and like that's partially like the reason why I'm like I don't even know if I could go to med school or if I could even do like pre-med anything or like even finish my degree. But I'm glad I stuck with it. Definitely like worth it. It did take me a little bit longer to kind of click and like really work through things. I think it definitely started like to like change things around my sophomore year going into it. The ARC is a really great resource, not just for tutoring, but also for academic coaching. Kate coach, and she was amazing. And it turns out she was actually one of a student of my current U-Life advisor.
Oh, wow.
That I work with. So when I worked with Carissa last year, I had mentioned Kate to her, and she's like, oh my God, I know Kate. And I'm like, oh yeah, she's so sweet.
It's a small world.
And I'm like, it really like, it's like going back to like Seton Hall being such a tight-knit community. It quite literally is like, granted, like you feel small at first because you don't truly know anyone, but like as you start to like open up and like meet new people, whether it be like once or twice, like you're gonna know them and notice them around campus. And it definitely like helped me like feel like I wasn't alone. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting how like you bring up the family dynamic, how like being away from home, it caused more problems, right? Like you'd think, oh, I'm away from home, somehow that eliminates family issues, but it it didn't in your case. And I'm sure a lot of students can relate to that. Yeah.
Like it's definitely hard, and it's an adjustment, and like currently like still things aren't great, but like it's getting there. And I know my siblings are so happy that like I'm coming home soon. Like
that's good.
I like they love it, and usually I try to surprise them when I'm coming home. Like
that's nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't know, they find a way. Like they're snoopers. They like to snoop in on anything and everything, so they always ruin it for themselves. But I'm like, you're taking the fun out of it. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah. I think it's really cool how you mentioned, too, like, with your family. I think it's one thing that I guess I never really thought about. But when being, like, absent, in a sense, just because you're at school, like, not because of something that's, like, out of your control, I feel like a lot of times it can feel like that, like you're missing out on something, or you feel as though you're not there as much, or you're not there as much as you could be, like, which I think is really interesting, because in the same way, like, I feel like the same, if that makes sense. And I mean, I'm only 45 minutes here. Like I'm not from out of state here, like born and raised in New Jersey. But I think it's really cool how we can kind of relate on that sense. Even being one person out of state and one person in state, you still have like those homesick moments. And I feel like that is just one of those things that actually brings a lot of students from Seton Hall closer together is because we have such a diverse group of people from all over the world, like even internationally. Like that's one thing where we can come together and say, oh, like I'm going through this, and they're like, oh, I'm going through something too. And that's when you can really learn like about somebody in like any area of their life, which I think is really, really cool. And it's like that's just one of the things that I notice kind of brings a lot of people together. And anybody that I've met, being like peer advisor or not, like everybody goes through hardships and like struggles. And I think that's honestly one thing that can actually bring you closer, like in relationship wise. But I would say like another thing that I thought about like while you were talking is because like you're looking back like all the way to freshman year, and I mean I'm just a sophomore, so it's like I still have 2 more years, but I look at like the difference between me freshman year and sophomore year, just even getting involved, and it's insane how much you can do here and how much you can get involved. So I'm gonna hit you with another question.
No worries.
But if you could give your freshman year self, especially like when you were going through that and you were in that time, if you could give your freshman yourself like any piece of advice about being homesick or anything that you could have said to yourself during that time that would have made you think differently, what would it be? Like what would you say to yourself? Or would you just say to yourself like it's gonna be okay, like we're gonna make it? Like if you could look into your future, would you look into that, like where you are now?
I like think back on freshman year constantly. I know like with my U-Life students even, I'm constantly like using my freshman self as an example. So like I love the improvement that I've seen in myself and just being able to like pick myself back up again. And I think honestly that's what I would tell myself. Like you're gonna get like beaten down to the ground constantly, but it's whether or not you choose to like get back up and like keep fighting. And I don't know, I've just been like sticking with that, and like, you know, I can only do what I can, and you know, when it comes to like exams and stuff, like I know what I know, and if I don't know it, I don't know it. So it's a matter of like just keep pushing forward. Like the times get tough, but like you have to just keep going.
Yeah.
And it's not like your problems are important or like they don't deserve validation or some type of help. Like I definitely needed help. Like I was like completely like just like depressed, and like I have anxiety, but like I also was like, no, I don't totally, like I know what it looks like and I don't have it. So like I was in like more of a state of denial with it. And then over the summer after freshman year, like I actually like got help. Like I was seeing a therapist, and like it helped put things into more perspective for me. And then like then from there, like I realized like, oh, like I did like I forgot what it was called. It was some type of testing for like my brain and everything that my doctor recommended. And it like gave me more insight into how my brain works, and just being able to like, okay, like with this information, what can I do to improve myself academically, but then also like mentally.
Yeah.
And it was definitely really helpful.
Yeah. Well, I think everything that you just said really speaks to the type of person that you are and how you handle situations. And I know, like, a lot of times it's very easy, like, when things are going good, it's very easy to just say, okay, things are going great and good, and I'm great and everything's fine. And then as soon as things go bad, it's like you start to beat yourself up and you start to really, like, lose hope and faith in a lot of different areas of your life. And I think just, like, the way that you explained everything and your whole, like, just your journey and the progress that you made, I think that speaks a lot about you as a person and where you come. And in a way, I wish I could have seen you freshman year so I could see you now, but I'm extremely proud of you and with everything that you have accomplished and done, and you're doing amazing, and you're a great friend in all of it. So it's just really great. It's really great to see that you're doing a lot better and to just know the type of person that you are. And it just gave me more insight to, honestly, a better way to handle my challenges and whatever I come through. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I love to like definitely like, it's like a story that I can like connect with other people. Like everyone's situation's always going to be different.
Yeah.
Like I can't compare it like mine's worse or mine's not as bad as someone else's, or like that they're not really going through something that like important. Like everyone has their own up and downs, and it's just important to really recognize that, and you know, kind of just be able to tell yourself, like, I think, like, I need some type of help, whether it be, like, you know, using on-campus resources or finding stuff off campus to do.
Yeah.
And that's partially why I wanted to become a peer advisor. Like, I was like, no, like, I don't want another kid or another student to feel the way I did. And if I can prevent that in any way I can, I will.
Yeah, and that's awesome because at the end of the day, we are all people, and I feel like that's something that we all can relate to. Being peer advisors is we look at students as people. Like we don't. There's no difference in it. Like they're all human. So that's really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story
Yeah.
and just coming on and being with us. This was amazing. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure
Yeah.
Justin learned a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great advice that you gave to yourself too. Being a peer advisor now, like having that perspective that you've been through, providing that wisdom to your students, and like you're able to empathize with them, right, when they're going through a struggle of homesickness or feeling lonely. And like you mentioned, seeking out help, right? I think that's so important because sometimes we don't want to ask for help or have too much pride or we're too scared or we're too afraid to ask for that help. And the fact that you did, it is a testament to your strength. And I'm just so happy that now you're able to like empower other students in that way, being a peer advisor in the role you're in. But thank you so much, Emerald. Yeah.
No, thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was a great segment. We're really happy to have Emerald here. Obviously, homesickness is something I'm sure a lot of students are struggling with, like Sophia mentioned, in-state or out-of-state. So, yeah, we're very thankful to have her here, and I think it was a great segment. I know I learned a lot. I know Sophia did, and we hope that you can learn a lot as well.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm here today with Jules, and let's just jump right into it. So, Jules, take me back to about a year ago.
So about a year ago, I was a freshman, fall semester. Wasn't really involved in like anything. Literally just was like going to school. I was going home like pretty much I didn't have Friday classes, so I was literally going home every Thursday night, coming back Sunday nights, sometimes even like Monday mornings if I had to. And that was kind of it. I was really set on my life back at home. I feel like I didn't give myself that like transition period to come to college. From the jump, I like didn't really want to come. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't want to come away from home. I live like 10 minutes from TCNJ, so I was very much like, I'll go to TCNJ. I live like 2 minutes from Ryder. I was like, I can go to Ryder, TCNJ, my community college at home. Like I just didn't want to come. So I feel like I never gave myself that opportunity. And I think that's kind of just where I was first semester.
Yeah, and I feel like too, as like your peer advisor last year, like I kind of sensed that. Like we kind of talked about like how like you were feeling that like this may not be like the right dynamic for you. And I always remember like kind of pointing a couple things out to you. And I remember early on back in October, you really got caught up with like peer advisor, right? You wanted to find like different things to get involved in. And you weren't sure, and I was just trying to like lead you to different avenues, trying to see. I remember bringing up Psych Club, but you weren't sure if it was your thing, but you really like latched on to like peer advisor. And I know you weren't sure about your situation back home and like different things. But I know you kind of sense that. And I know like how kind of like nerve-wracking it could be like freshman year, like you kind of experienced like maybe not having that group right away, but you kind of were kind of like you said, kind of balancing that life at home too, right?
I loved our class. Like I thought it was so fun. I would leave right after because it was like my last class on Thursdays, and going to U Life, like I tell my students now, like you guys don't understand. Like U Life was where it was at last year.
Awesome.
It was actually so much fun. So I think at the time, like first semester, I was thinking about it, but then I knew it would require me to come here like earlier because we have to like do training, and it requires you to stay more, and it's a busy job, so you can't be going home every single weekend. So I think that was really where I was struggling because there was a lot of things like that happened. I wanted to do a lot of stuff, but then I always pulled back because I was like, well, if I have to be here more, like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where things were at
Yeah,
first.
and you kind of like want to elaborate, like kind of like what was like.
Pulling me back
Yeah,
home.
it was
Yeah,
kinda like-
so I had a boyfriend back at home. We were dating since I was 16. So we were together for about 2 years. And I just built my life based off of like that. He didn't go to college, so he was home as well. My whole friend group back at home, I really didn't make too many friends here because I was just going home every single weekend. If I was staying here, they were coming here.
Yeah.
So I just was very attached to that life, and I was very much just like, oh, like I'm just gonna have to get through these 4 years because by the time I'm a junior, we can move in together, and then like I'll be fine. And yeah, and like that was kind of where my head was at. Like I wasn't even giving myself that opportunity. So I think just like being in a relationship was just like my main focus in life.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that's completely valid too, like kind of balancing that, right? Obviously you're in a relationship, but you're in this totally new environment. How do you kind of go about like navigating that and kind of both making time for him, but then also like kind of like making your experience here something special? And I think that was something that you kind of started to gain more like a like towards as we kind of approached like winter break. I know me and you talked a lot before going into winter break about PA. You were coming to the info session. You were super excited. I helped you with like going through your application. You're still a little hesitant, and then you kind of went through winter break, and like you kind of came back and you were really excited, and you started talking a little bit more about formal recruitment and different things like that. But obviously coming back from winter break, you probably experienced one of the biggest changes in your life.
Yeah, I think winter break was a time period for me where I was like, okay, like I saw what first semester did for me and that's great, but I really wanted to get more involved. So I kind of told myself and my friends and family, like, this is what I'm doing. So like I'm going to probably stay at school a little bit more now next semester. And I think that created like a big stride in my relationship because we were very like attached to each other. So about like a week and a half, 2 weeks in, we broke up. Like he broke up with me. I went home for the first weekend and like ended things, and it was really hard because I'm very much like I like to keep my business to myself. So having a friend group that was I'm in a very small town, so like word gets around. So it's like that's like really hard sometimes, just like everyone knowing your business. So I just was really scared for that. So one of the first people I talked to about it was you.
Yeah.
Because I literally didn't know who else to go
Yeah.
to. Like I said, I didn't really have that many friends back here. So I felt like there was no one to really go to back here. And all my friends at home, we were all in the same friend group. I was really close to this family. So like they were like a second family to me. So it was really hard. I feel like I didn't really have that support system. Until I was like calling you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that was something. So I think like for me, I think like obviously, right, you go into you want to provide that support, you want to provide that reassurance, but it's like at the same time, this is such a big change for someone who like at 18 years old, right, you still have your whole life ahead of you. So it's probably one of the biggest changes, right, you've had in your life. And you're just trying to provide that reassurance, that support. But I know we had a lot of like tougher conversations, tougher meetings. There were a lot of times we were very emotional. I was just trying to get you back on track, right? Rightfully so. It's like a big change, but like trying to find those things within you to kind of bring out of you and make you like a better person, right? Because I was trying to highlight as a way, well, not everything's got to be like a dead end, right? You can take the absolute worst situation and kind of always find a way to spin a positive out of it. Yeah. And like slowly but surely, you kind of started to get there. Obviously, there were some bumps in the road I'm sure you're gonna get into, but like I was just really trying to be there in that moment for you to kind of like realize like there's more to it, right? And sometimes you don't understand, something happens, but you don't understand that there's something greater that can come out of it.
Yeah, I feel like I get very like emotionally attached to people. I'm just very like emotional.
Yeah, for sure.
So I didn't look at it like, oh, this is an in and out moment. I looked at it as like, oh, my whole future is done.
Yeah, like your life
I
is
lost
over
my
kind of
husband.
thing. Yeah,
every like life is over.
Yeah.
Like that's how all my friends are gone. Like that's how I looked at it as. I was looking at it at too broad of a picture. So I think you really helped me like center it back down and be like, let's focus on this week and not in 10 years.
Like, let's focus on today. Like try to get through today.
It's like every day was literally a separate journey. And it was really hard. Like I just felt like really lonely. But I also feel like internally I knew that this was needed and this needed to happen for me to grow. And there was really 2 goals that I set for myself in spring semester last year, which was go through formal recruitment and apply to BPA. So I feel like at first I was able to do those things. We had formal recruitment first, and I know we talked about the weekend of formal recruitment, and I was like, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
I really wasn't like planning on doing it, so I was really like nervous going into it. I know it's kind of like a big deal, so that was really nerve-wracking. And then right after that, if like recruitment ended on Sunday, first round of PA interviews was Monday, so that was like February was like a huge month for me.
Big month for you, yeah.
Valentine's Day too, like that was really hard. The Valentine's Day was like a week after all this, so then like having to go through that, but went through the first and second round interviews, and I didn't get the decision right away that I got the job until March.
I think like late
I think March.
Yeah,
so there was like a big time period where it was just like after getting back into school and going through recruitment and PA and all that stuff, it was kind of like a lingering March, April, May.
Yeah.
I think those were probably my hardest months.
Yeah, and I think there were like some things that I started to notice as well during those months. Like I think we met up, we did like a little check-in in March, and you were kind of expressing to me how like you were saying your sleep schedule's off. And I know that was something that you really took pride in, like going to bed early, staying on top of it. You were mentioning your work ethic was off, and you're starting to see that in your performance. And I know you were like really worrying because like finals were coming up, Easter breaks in there. There were a lot of different things. You weren't really like eating, like you really felt like your things were kind of off. And I kind of noticed that, and you really kind of confided in me with a lot of this stuff. So I was like, my whole thing was like, I wanted you to see that you're worth, right? That there's still something more to this. So I remember like one day in like April, we like met up, and I was doing check-ins with like all my students, and we met up, and I was like, you know what, with her, I'm going to try to do something like a little goals talk. You want to like talk about that? Like,
that was really uncomfortable for me because I feel like it was finally facing everything I've kind of been like avoiding. Like I knew I was kind of crashing and burning in a lot of areas, but I like didn't want to acknowledge it. So I think having the goals taught, and also I feel like we got like pretty
Yeah, by that
close.
time I was your like PA big. You already had the job.
Yeah, like I had the job at this
Yeah.
point, like, and so like I feel like we were transitioning from more to like PA students to more like friends, but not entirely there yet. But it was like that transition period where we were just getting really close. So I was like funny, like it was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like,
no, but like sometimes, right? Like we talk about like that vulnerability, like getting vulnerable and being able to open up allows you to kind of realize like
I think going
you
back
know,
to where it started too. Like I
Yeah.
had to remember like, okay, like he is my PA, like I'm not my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I had to like look at it from that like point of view.
Yeah.
So having that goals talk, I went through like a wave of emotion. I was laughing, I started crying. Like it was
Yeah.
like a lot going on. That was the
Yeah.
first time I cried in front of you.
Yeah,
so.
no, it was. Yeah.
So literally like that was just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it really helped, and it was something that really stuck with me. And I'm not like some of the goals that we set were a little too like just kind of late in the game, but
Yeah.
I bring those goals with me this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped me a lot. I literally have it hanging on my door still.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that talk was really the transition point from like, all right, we're going down, like let's start going back up.
Back up and like building yourself up. I think that was something that I really wanted to like push with you because I knew it was there, but I think you just didn't see it in yourself, right? But other people around you saw it in you. And like for me, leadership, right? Like being in the role I was in, helping you realize that full potential so you can go out and do what you need to do, right? And be
Yeah.
that better person. Start having confidence in yourself like other people have around you, but start seeing like what makes you unique, what makes you special, and like build like kind of now taking that, spinning a positive and growing into the person you want to be.
Yeah.
Because like I always say, like, you know, you're on this journey, you're doing all these different things, you're going to class, you're doing this, you're balancing these things, you're obviously clearly like navigating change and loss, all these different things, right? It's a journey, right? But it's always about the person you become on that journey. And sometimes life's gonna throw you punches and you're gonna feel like you can't get back up.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need a little bit of a lift up to get back on your feet and you start making that path.
Yeah, I always like prided myself, like I was very like, I wasn't like the smartest kid in the classroom, but I would
Yeah.
always try with academics.
Yeah.
Like I was getting like A's and B's in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was never really getting below any of that. So even first semester I ended with Dean's List. So coming into spring semester, like I was not doing that well academically, and that was just something that even though I felt like my confidence started to get back up
Mm-hmm.
in myself, it was kind of too late. Like it was like at this point, like right before Easter, we had
Mm-hmm.
like a couple weeks left in the semester. And that was something that was really hard for me too, because I was like, oh my God, like I'm in danger of failing.
No,
Like
but-
I was
yeah.
for 2 classes, I really
But,
was. So
like-
I was really scared about that. So I think that also coming into this semester was something that I really wanted to work on.
Yeah.
And really just like the job, because that for me, I feel like this program has given me so much, just in all aspects, like internally, externally. I feel like I have such a good relationship with my students now, and like feel so close to them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like I've grown emotionally, I've grown academically,
Yeah.
I've grown professionally through this job. I feel like I've literally made friends for life within this job. Like I finally felt that aspect of like family here, and it motivated me and made me like passionate to like want to be here. And I don't shut up about it. Like
Yeah, you
everyone I
always
talk
talk
to, I'm like,
about
be a PA. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely love my job, and it's so special to me.
No, and it's noticeable too, right? With the impact that you're making now with your students, and like you're also giving back. And I feel like now you like look back and you're like, whoa, how did we get here in a year, right? Like you look back and you're like, a year ago, this time, right? You were still like, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
You were very much like, I don't want to be here. I just want to come to class Monday through Thursday. You'd come to every U Life. You'd like, I'm leaving right after.
Yeah,
you
like I had my bags packed.
Like you were ready to go.
I was ready to go.
And it's like, but like I could always sense like you wanted to get involved. I think you just didn't know how to.
Yeah.
Or then there was like obviously you mentioned like stuff holding you back, but now I feel like when you look at how far you came, right? Because you could have never like go back. You never could have imagined something like this happening, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
Could you like honestly like go back a year? Could you see yourself where you are now?
No, like I first just take like every involvement out of it. Like the people that I've met here have like truly been like family to me, like through like the toughest times of my life. Like so far, people from here have like helped me with that. Like I've actually made friends for life here, and then being able to like get them involved and do stuff with me, like doing like PA with everyone, and
Yeah.
now being in a sorority and like really meeting those girls and like getting to know them and feeling so close to them, and it's just been great, and it's inspired me to do so much more. And but not picking up, like I picked up a minor, which is something I never thought I would have done, because like academic is never my thing. So even doing that, I was just like, I would have never done that for myself, and now being able to do that for myself is like really cool.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously like it was a really bad time, but like you can't really have good without bad. So like it really sucked, but I'm really grateful for it, and I feel like it's genuinely changed me for the better, and I wouldn't change anything about that.
No, that's amazing. I think also too, like your mentality from where you were like last year.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you were always kind of very down on yourself and kind of like beat yourself up. But now I think, like we said, you're starting to realize that potential. You're starting to have a little bit more of a positive outlook on like the work and the stuff that you do, and you're passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
And I think freshman year was about finding you those passions. And sometimes like the thing is with all of these things, you never know where life's gonna take you, right? You never know what door's gonna open, what door's gonna close, what avenue's gonna open, right? But sometimes in the toughest moments, you just have to realize like, I woke up this morning, it's a new day, it's a new opportunity. I don't know what's gonna happen, but let me just be open to it. And I think you
Yeah.
started to realize that as kind of your freshman year went on. You really took that into the summer, and now like seeing you in the role, obviously, you know, you're doing a lot better academically this semester. You feel like you're back on track with that, which is awesome. You know, you're killing it with PA. You planned a whole event for the whole program. Like, that's really good. You
Yeah,
know,
no, it
things
was
like
really
that.
fun
That
planning
like,
too.
yeah.
And like I said, like I feel like I would have never been able to do that without the support
Mm-hmm.
from my like fellow coworkers, and so it was really nice to be able to have that, because that's just something I've never felt so part of something
Mm-hmm.
before. And it's been great, and I feel like if I can even be like half the PA to my students as like he was to me, like I will feel like fulfilled and completed. So like
No, I don't say that. Leadership is all.
I'm gonna gas you up real
leadership.
quick, but-
No, leadership's all about learning.
No, yeah,
right?
but
So-
it makes me want to be like a better PA every single day. Like knowing the effects that the program had on me, like am so happy to be able to even attempt to do that for
Yeah.
my students, and they're amazing. So yeah, it's really
And
great.
it shows too, like even in the toughest times, you know, there's always opportunities that life can throw your way. Like you're going through your situation, your breakup, you thought your world was ended, right?
Yeah.
There were two opportunities right in front of you. You could have steered away, or you could have accepted them. And as tough as it probably was to do so mentally in that time, you accepted them,
Yeah.
and now you love them. Now you're also on e-board for Kappa, like you know
Yeah.
you're killing it.
No, it's been really fun.
Yeah. So I think it's also important to highlight that. Like sometimes in life, there's gonna be different things thrown at you, but you know sometimes there's different opportunities, and you accept them, and now look where they take you. You have a completely different mindset. Less than a year. Go back 6 months even
Yeah.
than where you are right now. And I think that's a super awesome story that you have, and I feel like it's really important to kind of highlight that and share that with other people, because it's what like makes you you, and it's what makes you unique.
Yeah. No, it's really cool.
Yeah. So awesome. So it was really important to highlight kind of Jules' story here. Obviously, kind of dealing with a breakup, obviously, and loss of friends and different things like that, and kind of how she was able to kind of turn a negative into an absolute positive, and now she's kind of killing it in her second year. And it kind of shows like we all kind of deal with these different losses, but obviously the loss of loved ones or breakup or different things like that we kind of deal with can really kind of alter one's mindset. But I'm really proud of her for her story and kind of what she did and how she was able to spin it into a positive. So.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome back to our last segment. Today I have the opportunity to talk to my roommate of 2 years, Kira. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Kira. I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey. I'm a sophomore, and I'm an elementary education and special education major here at Seton Hall.
All right, so tell me a little bit about your freshman year and life before your situation.
Yeah, so my first semester here at Seton Hall actually went very well for me. I wasn't a very good student in high school. I got pretty bad grades. I was like a B or C student. But luckily when I came to Seton Hall, I really found my footing here, and I actually made Dean's List my first semester here. My second semester went a little bit more different. Unfortunately, I lost my uncle to suicide in March, and so that was really difficult for me and my whole family. My uncle took care of my grandmother, so we were all very, very close. He didn't have any kids. He didn't have a wife. So B and my brothers were really the closest thing he had to that. And so he would treat us like we were his kids and we were his siblings. And my grandmother suffered a stroke back in 2020, and so she needed around-the-clock care. So he was there for her and took care of her every single day for 5 years. So yeah, when we lost him, it was like a really difficult situation. So my life definitely changed overnight. To say
No,
the
I could
least.
tell, even being like a very important person in your life, I didn't know her uncle, and I feel like I knew your uncle.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what that day was like for you.
So that day I was actually, it was during our spring break of freshman year, second semester. I went to go visit my best friend from high school in Montreal in Canada, and I was there for less than 24 hours basically. I arrived there on Thursday, and then Friday morning I woke up and I noticed all my family went to my grandma's house, and so I was wondering why they all went there, because it's not very rare that like my whole family is there, especially like my dad and my brothers. So I texted my mom about it, and then I get a call from my dad, and he was like, "Are you alone?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he told me what happened. He was like, "Uncle James unfortunately passed away," and right then and there, my whole entire life like changed forever. Honestly, yeah, it was really, really difficult time. I mean, obviously I was away from home, so it was even more difficult. Luckily, I had two of my best friends from high school who knew who my uncle was to me, so that really, really helped. But that night I was on a flight back home alone. And when I got back home, like my other grandparents picked me up from the airport, and went to my grandma's house, and yeah, it was an insane day. It was definitely, obviously, a very, very emotional day. It was really difficult, and when I got back I saw my brothers, and that was even more difficult because they were as close as they were as close with him as I was, obviously. Yeah, it was just like a very difficult day in general.
No, I definitely could see you change a lot emotionally and academically, and you were really going through a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
how would you say you kind of grieved with all of that the best that you could?
I mean, I can tell everyone that. I mean, I feel like everyone knows that like grief isn't linear. Like it happens in years. It could take you to get through it. I like to say that you don't like move on from grief. You just move with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely difficult. I mean, I started becoming like very anxious every time I was away from home. Like I would come to school from Monday to Thursday, and I would leave right as soon as I was done with school because I was so scared that something was going to happen while I was gone. And Maddie knows that. She was my roommate last year. But yeah, it was definitely, everything changed for me, like especially emotionally. Like I had to mature very, very quickly overnight basically, because we had to figure out how to take care of my grandma. And luckily my brother was home from school. He took a semester off, so he was there to help during the week, but he couldn't do it every single day because that would just be too much for him. So I would go home on the weekends, and I would be at my grandma's house 24/7 for 4 days straight, and then I would have to come back here and act like really nothing happened.
I definitely saw that from my point of view. It was like your world stopped, but nothing else in it stopped.
Yeah,
you had to
it
just
was,
keep going with everything,
yeah.
and had a lot of obstacles. I really did see that.
Yeah, and I missed a whole week of school when it happened, obviously, because I just couldn't handle coming to school. I also had like the funeral and the week and everything like that. But yeah, I missed a whole week of school, and even just missing that 1 week really affected me academically because for some reason that week I was gone, everything was happening. But I really, really suffered academically my second semester. It was very, very difficult. I mean, to be completely vulnerable here, I mean, I did not pass a couple of my classes last semester, which caused my GPA to go lower than a 3.0. And in our education program here, you have to have a 3.0 to take education classes and also be a student teacher. So this semester I was unable to do all of that, which was really difficult because you see everyone doing it and you're like, oh, I really want to do that. But it was hard because it's also, I knew I was able to get those grades, but it was just an obstacle that I had to go through that caused me to just kind of break down and not really finish everything. But so that was also really difficult, was my academics changing overnight because I did so well my first semester, and then my second semester I like really, really lost it. But I took the steps to improve. I definitely try my best now. I think I'm doing a lot better now. I took a class over the summer at my community college in my county just to like get back in the flow of like school, because I think that's another issue, is I was so out of it for so long that I just lost the touch of like doing school for some reason, because I was never good at it in the first place. But yeah, doing that class over the summer really helped because it just got me in the mode to, sit down, do work, like focus on it and not think about everything else that's going on in my life.
Yeah. And seeing how close your family was with your uncle, I definitely could tell that they were all incredibly impacted by it and that it changed literally everybody's life.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, even for my mom, it was my mom's brother who passed away, and my mom had to move into my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
She was living there for, I think, almost 3 months.
Yeah.
Maybe close to 4, honestly. So I also, every time I went home, I wouldn't even have my mom there. It was really difficult. She's probably the strongest woman I've ever
She
met
really
on
is,
this
yeah.
planet. But yeah, so she had to not move out of our house, but move into my grandparents' house for so long. And that was really difficult. It was, not having my mom there because we were all going through grief. And I
also
definitely,
for her, like, she had work and 3 kids.
Yep.
And
my mom is the breadwinner in our family,
Yeah.
and she works very, very hard at what she does. And her job is no joke. It's very high demand. So yeah, it was very difficult for her. And it was also, like, you put yourself in my mom's shoes, and, like, I have 2 older brothers, and Maddie has 2 older brothers. Like, you think about losing your brother, that's, like, the last thing you ever want to
Yeah.
think of. And it's really hard to think about that, but you have to do it to understand what she was also going through. And she also had to sell her childhood home. So it was really difficult because it was all of us going through the same thing at once. I think that was what made it most difficult at home, is my brothers were grieving, I was grieving, my dad was grieving, my mom was grieving, and my grandmother was grieving all at the same time, which made it really difficult to just even understand what was going on, because we were all kind of in denial for a while
Yeah.
that it even happened. So, yeah.
And what would you say, like, the resources that you guys used to help get you guys through it the best you could?
So me and my whole entire family actually all see a therapist. I'm a huge advocate for therapy,
Absolutely.
110%, whether that's through Seton Hall, our CAPS program, or whether it's through just a therapist you have at home. I've had the same therapist for 3 years at this point, and
Yeah, you
she's-
love her.
she's seen me through a lot.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I mean, I had therapy once a week, which was very, very important for me.
You talked to her day of, too.
Yeah,
a lot.
so
I
yeah, the
remember
day of,
that.
I texted her and I was like, this is an
Yeah.
emergency, and I called her, and she was like, she's the best ever.
Yeah.
But me and my brothers all went to therapy for a while, my dad, my mom, and we also really just went to our other family for help a lot.
Yeah.
My dad's side of the family, I have 4 cousins on that side, and they were all super helpful
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. My cousin Maddie, actually, not this Maddie, but my other cousin, she would pick me up from school on Thursdays if my parents couldn't, and
Yeah.
like drive me back, and give me a day just to like rest, which was really,
Yeah.
really nice. Even my friends here, Maddie, Jules, who was in the last segment, they were there for me 110% of the time. Like, they were like my rocks here. Like, the only reason I would come back Monday through Wednesday and Thursday sometimes. They're literally the only reason I would come back here. They were like my best friends. They really, really helped me throughout the whole entire thing. I would say therapy is probably what helped me the most. I think also just talking about it
Yeah.
really does help, and that's why I was so open to doing this, because mental health is not a joke,
Yeah.
and it's not something that should be taken lightly at all. So being able to come on and talk about something so sensitive is really important, I think, as
Yeah.
well, for other people to know that, like, if you have gone through grief your first year of college or your second year or whatever year, like, you will be able to get through it, and you might have bad days, you might have good days, but it's really important to just my biggest thing is to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like talking to people about it, you can journal, you can write it down, you can do whatever you really need to do. But
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing, is to just talk about it.
Yeah.
And also, therapy is really helpful.
Absolutely. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes people forget how quickly stuff like that can really happen in their life.
Yeah, I mean, you won't realize it until it really happens.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, you always think about, like, this sounds such a sad topic, but, like, when your grandparents aren't going to be there forever, and you think about that, and you don't think it could happen overnight, and then when it happens to someone in your family that you thought was going to be there for everything in your life, that is what makes it most difficult, is that he was so young.
Yeah.
He had such a bright future. He was, he wasn't, like, I think he was, like, around 40, but he was, like, young, and you don't ever want to see anyone in your family go through that.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, my family has a long history with mental health issues. Like, I
Yeah.
have depression, anxiety myself. My brothers have both had it. My mom has it. So we all understand it so well in my family that it was hard to wrap our heads around that it was actually happening to us.
Like right in front of you, yeah.
Yeah, it was really hard, because also you don't think it's going to happen. You're like, oh, but they're getting the help, but sometimes the help is not
Right.
enough for them. So yeah, I think that was also the hard part, is like we were going through it as a whole family before, and it was hard because he could have just come and talked to us about it, and he did, and you know, the help he was getting just kind of quite wasn't enough for what he needed. But yeah, it was a really hard part about it too.
Well, I've definitely seen you pick yourself up this semester, and I'm so glad that you were vulnerable and came and talked about it today. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Maddie.
that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to Kira, Jules, and Emerald, and our navigating changes as we go through college.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. This was a really great episode with great segments. Just wanted to, kind of reiterate that disclaimer again. Obviously we talked about some pretty dense and important topics, and I'm glad we talked about them, but, it can be a sensitive area for many people, so we just kind of want to lay that out there for everyone. Again, this is to really help students and assist in any way that we can, and we do that by highlighting different stories and journeys. And I think this was a really great episode to do so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think arguably it's probably one of the most important. But I feel like one thing that this episode did do was it highlighted that struggle is not unfamiliar to it's to anybody. It doesn't matter like if you go to a big or small school, like you're gonna struggle, you're gonna have challenges, there's gonna be ups and downs. But I think it's really cool being from a smaller school that we got to really like highlight and look into different stories and just see like the different personalities of different people and how everybody overcame all their challenges. So I think this was a really, really good episode. I know we said it before, but we both learned a lot, and we're really grateful for everybody that was able to come on and speak and just tell us about their story.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important you say that, Sophia, like being able to relate to others. I think, through an episode like this, that's our goal, is to touch other students, and so that everyone can relate to, the stories that were told today. And we're very grateful for everyone sharing. Again, sensitive topics, but it's very powerful for you to come on and, say your story. Sometimes it could be scary, but we're glad that they did and are able to share that with us and with Seton Hall. So thank you very much.